Hey everybody, we're live! Hey, welcome to the Deep Thoughts on SNL podcast, an SNL review and discussion show. My name is Rob Moden. With me today are
Leah Sueko!
Nice and Loud, and also
And Matt Smith, not that one.
yeah, the other Matt Smith. This one does not wear a bow tie. We're here to talk about episode 3 of season 40 of Saturday Night Live. Bill Hader and Hozier. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to mention. I thought it was a solid episode. Matt, what do you think?
I thought it was the best one of this young season thus far.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I think Hader.
Oh, no, I disagree.
Okay, well, you're wrong. But
Well, you're wrong.
I said you were wrong first, so no take backsies.
Oh, just because you have
Hader
scruff. Just because you have scruff this week doesn't mean you get to be all high and mighty.
It's gone by tomorrow, I promise you. I feel like Hader. I mean, it seems like a cheat to say Hader's been the best host of the season because he was there for 8 years, but.
And it's 3 people so far.
Are you going to do this the entire time?
Probably,
Kidding about
Matt.
this being hostile.
Happy Canadian Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh,
Wouldn't be a holiday without a fight.
thanks for giving me crap on this. Come on. It was I really enjoyed it. I think it started off, some of the sketches were a little like, not so much. But I think near the back half of the episode, things really came together. And I enjoyed the back half more than the first half. But yeah, it was great to see Hader again. He's probably one of my favorites of the past, well, probably ever, because, I grew up with like the second half of the show. But yeah, I think we had a solid episode on our hands here, guys.
Yeah, by the way, apologies to everyone for Matt's audio problems. It's suddenly getting louder and quieter, louder and quieter, louder and quieter. This is after 20 minutes of trying our best. But let's move on, shall we?
Let's just apologize for Matt, full stop.
Leah, you said that you kind of wanted to argue that it was the best of the season so far. Which episode would you say is the best season of the season so far?
Well, out of 3 episodes, I'm probably going to go last week. I'm going to go Cyrus Silverman.
Does Matt agree? Disagree?
I remember liking last week's as well. I think they're the 2 best episodes of the season so far.
Well said. Well
With Chris
said.
Pratt as the third. Poor Chris Pratt.
I thought he was a great host, mind you. I just thought the sketches that he was sort of given weren't necessarily the best.
Matt has declared that the summer of Chris Pratt has ended. All right. So let's go through the sketches one by one. Let's start with the cold open, which was Kim Jong-un responding to rumors that he is sick. Moynihan gets a kind of a showcase sketch, which I thought he did well in. Leah, what did you think?
Out of the cold opens this season, I thought it was the strongest one. Which, if you know how I feel about cold opens, that amounts to a hill of beans, as they say.
That's a lot of beans.
That's true. Nobody ever talks about in that phrase that hill of beans is a heck of a lot of beans.
Yeah.
A truckload at least.
It's
That's
at
awesome.
least a garbage truck full of hill of beans.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that you really, really loved this sketch.
No, that's not at all what I'm
A
saying.
garbage
I'm
truck's
saying-
worth of love for this sketch.
No, I'm saying that me saying it was an okay cold open doesn't amount to much. Oh, maybe hill of beans means small.
There's something to that.
Because it doesn't amount. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. Did I say? Yeah, that's what I said. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. Or it
Should we
amounts
cut
to
it
a
down
hill of
to
beans.
get an update on your eyebrow sweating? Is that still in your life?
It's still an issue. I'm thinking this is an age thing, which is why I was asking you, because you're years younger than me. So, Matt, though, you're the same age as me.
I'm one.
Mother.
No.
Fucker. Do you
I'm
get
not-
eyebrow sweat? Just
not-
eyebrow sweat, not anywhere else. Just your eyebrows. Like, start
My-
sweating profusely.
My whole face sweats, so it's really isolating it to one part of my brow seems really insignificant, but.
Well, you have about 9 months before the eyebrow sweating starts.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll put that in my journal.
Yeah.
I'll write that on the calendar so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, mark it down. Mark it down.
So overall, the impression I'm getting is that we liked the sketch, but it was.
I thought it was a little, I don't know, the same thing over and over again, and it didn't really have an ending to it. It didn't really escalate, I found, all that much. It was just like, hey, I'm King John-il, I'm going to pretend, or Un, right?
Get it right. Get
Yeah.
it right.
King? Is he a king?
Yeah, let me respect. Did I call him King? Is that what I said?
Didn't you say King? Jin?
No, he said Kim.
Oh,
Kim.
okay.
His name.
Okay.
Anyway, about King John-un. Yeah, I thought it didn't really go much of anywhere beyond the original joke, and I felt like it was like a sketch that was going to stir up the mini Twitter controversy of, hey, there's no Asian cast members on this show, because we have
Asians
bunch of-
don't do that. Asians don't do that.
How would
We're
you
not
know?
a bunch of whiners.
Fair enough.
Wow.
But yeah,
We're used
Wow.
to being ignored and discarded in society.
Should we clarify that Leah is at some fraction Asian? Is that
Sueko? Do you need to clarify Sueko?
Maybe? I'm not sure what that originates from.
yeah, that could have been anything, honestly.
That's Japanese.
Is it?
Youngest child is what it means.
So I thought Moynihan had some solid lines. I liked Space Jam is based on my life. We all know this.
Yeah, I agree with that. And his dancing was fantastic. His tap dancing?
Great stuff, yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
Some good points.
Yeah.
But
Probably the most physical activity he's had in about 6 years, but
That's not fair, because he
He
got
was-
injured doing physical
he
activity
was
last year.
sweating.
He was on the injured reserve last year.
oh my god.
What?
Anyway, so we're probably I
you
think we're
sweating from your
deciding is
eyebrows?
that we're going to remember this sketch, but other sketches we're not. Like, we're going to remember this cold open, but the past two cold opens, I don't even remember what they were anymore.
The football thing from the premiere and something in the Sarah Silverman episode.
So, exactly.
It was Beck Bennett interviewing.
60 Minutes. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
who's going to ever remember that?
Bennett was robbed of Live from New York on Saturday night in that episode, by the way.
Okay, points.
You don't get
All right.
to to comment on past episodes.
What's that?
You don't get to comment on past episodes.
Do you know how ridiculous it is to listen to a podcast with you guys talking about it and then not being able to respond to what you're saying as it happens? It's like, no, I disagree with what you just said.
Actually, no, I wouldn't know how ridiculous that is because I've been on all of them.
No, there's been an all dudes one. I know that I was on it. It was me, Brian, and Rob. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, Rob fired me for a little bit. That's true.
Deserve it.
It's a weird way to put it. The monologue. Do we want to talk about the monologue? I thought it was
Hated it.
weird.
I hated it.
I thought it was. Wait. Oh, actually, hold on. So this whole league thing started after Kristen Wiig was there,
Yes.
and had left. So what are people's thoughts on Wiig? Leah, I get the impression that you hate Wiig.
Why do you get? I actually got points for her this week. I picked her.
Oh, okay.
Her
I
all-women
just-
team, remember?
No, I didn't really like her when she was on SNL, but I really enjoy seeing her come back for episodes.
Yeah, I think she was deeply, deeply talented, and I remember when she first showed up on the show and when she'd start appearing in sketches and thinking, this girl's really talented, like there's a future star here, and then unfortunately Lorne Michaels really, really agreed and then pushed her in basically every sketch and every recurring character where she basically mugs for the camera for 5 minutes, and it became really old hat. But I've always thought she's really talented, and I liked her everything she's done outside of the show as well. But
yeah, see, I really like everything she's done outside.
Skeleton Twins, she's amazing in. Like, yeah, she's, and I enjoyed her this week too, like in smaller doses. With I thought her monologue was great. Her parts in the monologue were great with the saxophone.
That was a solid joke. Yeah.
Yeah, great callback there, and the Kathy Lee Gifford stuff in the sketch after that, but she got a little old after a while.
Yeah, I thought it was. She was very talented, as you said, and she kind of got run to the ground. And I do feel like when she comes back to host or as a guest or something, because people I don't know, maybe it's like her broad stuff was the most recognizable, so I feel like maybe she's pressured into going all the way to 10 when she just pops up in these cameos instead of doing kind of more subtle stuff, because in the monologue it seemed like she was very kind of, I don't know, over the top doesn't feel quite right.
She's playing a very self-centered character, like a very self-centered version of herself.
Yeah.
To Hader's more humble character.
Which was adorable, because he was talking about his roots and how he was legitimately freaked out about being on the show. Yeah.
Iron Chef beginnings and Megan Mullally spotting him.
Leah, what did you think?
I don't know. I didn't like the cold open. I'm bored about talking with it.
He grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, like some idiot from some book. I really enjoyed that.
Solid line. What about Harvey Firestein? Leah, don't you love Harvey Firestein?
I do, but I don't know why he was there. And it was
all the kids love Harvey Firestein. He's the new Iggy Azalea.
I feel like
I immediately Googled to see if he had hosted before to see if I was going to get points out of that. He has not.
Yeah.
What?
It was just a John Lovitz character.
I really like him, but I feel like now that he's older, it's almost like he can't even talk. It sounds like he's struggling to even make a sound out of his mouth.
David, why did I just send my mother to Atlanta?
I did kind of want him to quote Independence Day.
That was Independence Day.
Yeah. That was...
Do you think he's playing into his voice, or do you think it's genuinely like he can't really do it that much?
I think he can't do it.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sod.
Do we want to? Let's move into the actual sketches that have Hader reprising some of his most loved characters. First up was Herb Welch at a virginity rally.
I really liked that character the first time he came along. Hey, the Bills just recovered a fumble. Sorry, I'm watching football in the corner of my eye.
You're watching football on an SNL podcast?
I'm so impressed.
I told you I would try not to be distracted by this. Oh, there was a flag. It's probably coming back. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Herb Welch character the first time it came along, where he's just jabbing people in the face with a microphone, and then they'd subvert it where, Jason Sudeikis would be back in the studio, and then he'd get jabbed with a random arm that came from off camera. But it doesn't really have anywhere new to go, especially in this one with the virginity pledge sort of thing. It's like, I don't understand why he suddenly became so angry at these people, where in previous incarnations of the sketch, it seemed like he had a justifiable reason why he'd be so... Not justifiable, but a reason why he's decided these people are his enemies now, and he started attacking them with a microphone. Yeah, I don't know if he made that clear necessarily, but
okay.
I enjoy the character in general, and I mean, even though it follows the same beats every time, like cutaway, oh now he's dead, oh no he's not really dead, he's going to attack you with the microphone some more. I enjoy it because I think Hader plays it really well.
Well, I read, I think it was the AV Club review, and it had a theory put forth by the writer that Hader was one of the all-time greats because he was able to put kind of a real life into every single character. And it's like, it's kind of hard to articulate, but it was like just an essence that like really helped stop things from going stale. Like he said it was something that like Hartman had, and
right.
a couple others where even a one-note gag, like it's, I don't know, they're just like being kind of so into it and committed to it, and knowing when to play up certain aspects of it so completely that it always felt a little fresh. I mean, Stefan is we'll talk about, but obviously I think most people would say that he didn't seem too old at this point or used up. Leah, what did you think?
I've forgotten what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
Herb Welch. Welch.
And
Hader being awesome.
I've just been rewatching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I've realized that
on an SNL podcast? What's wrong with you?
It's Larry David's dad. His Herb Welch is just Larry David's dad. It really, really is.
I really enjoyed the moment where I forget what it was that Taran Killam asked him, and then he responds with, "Why didn't your wife take your last name?" He just stares down the camera.
That was a good line. There was the mannequin, calling him a mannequin and then accusing him of being smooth down there.
And any other lines they use?
I also like Davidson just again, he's been able so far to kind of give a little bit of spark to his minor characters. Like, I don't know if it was in the script or he like kind of added it at some point in the process, but I think there's too much pressure on his teens, sex-wise. Just like that little like turn of phrase or something, just helps it. I find helps the sketch.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson got a lot of play this episode.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
A lot. I mean, I'm guessing. Yeah, Bill Hader, I'm guessing, because he's the one who got him hired, and so it was just
true. Yeah.
Pete Davidson. I don't know what this is. Sex bit.
Punching. Yeah. Pete Davidson punching through your screen, coming at you with the comedy. Matt is silently punching the screen.
Yeah. Is there any sort of split screen that everybody gets to see all three of us punching the screen at the same time?
Yeah, at all points. At all points, people are able to see at least a little thumbnail of you on the YouTube version, looking up and not paying attention because there's a football game in front of you.
And just me staring at my little
game. It's a big game. Yeah. So her Welsh. That's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah, it was very solid.
There was a trend tonight that makes me, at least 3 different times, made me wonder: is Cecily Strong Hispanic?
She's not. She's not Hispanic.
She played 3 Hispanic characters, didn't she?
One of her first characters was her playing Puerto Rican, and there was like a huge backlash from that. Was the first thing she ever did on Weekend Update.
Well, they are playing into it now.
Yeah.
Just leaning into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's not. She's not Hispanic.
She played Sofia Vergara. She played in the Inside SoCal sketch.
There was. Cook. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe Herb Welsh was implying that she was Hispanic in that sketch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I don't know what to think of it at this point.
Yeah.
Multiple people made note of it on Twitter or in real life around me while we were watching the episode. Multiple people. So.
More in touch, angrier people than I will point out if it was racist or not.
She's the only slightly ethnic-looking of the females to play.
Leah's allowed to say that. We're not. Just gonna nod my head, like, Good point.
That's not a
salient point as ever, Leah. Salient point as ever.
Said the straight white man watching football right now.
Wearing a Buffalo Bills hat and a Buffalo Bills T-shirt, which will come into play later on.
That's a little matchy for me, to be honest, Matt.
Can we move on to what I thought was one of the highlights, which was the young adult mashup trailer, which I thought
was fantastic. Yeah,
that was on point. I thought.
I'm gonna disagree with the timing of it. I'm gonna disagree with the timing of it, just because whatchamacallit's coming out next month, and I think they should have saved it a month.
Yeah, whatchamacallit? I'm really looking forward to it. It's about
I'm really hoping they
society about chocolate bars.
I'm really hoping they split the third part into 2. I mean, you really got to tell the whole whatchamacallit saga. You got it. Like, we need to know what happens to the whatchamacallits in every detail. So.
Oh, but there was a sheep in it. There was a sheep in it.
Wait, sheep or goat? I can't remember which one you're into.
There's a goat later on.
I'm counting all of them now. Including reindeers, because they mentioned a reindeer at one point.
It's just like that character in season 5 of Community where it's like, anything with 4 legs is really a goat. So sheep, goats. Deer, actually goats. So, yeah, no, I thought it was strong. I thought it had, I really liked lines like from the director of Maze Runner, the producer of Hunger Games, and a casual fan of The Giver.
Yeah, that as well. Based on a young adult novel based in a comment section of a Hunger Games trailer.
I liked the random Chinese guy who they would zoom in on, and he would like.
Yeah,
he said something. He said some special phrase or word, and it's like, what?
Zimmerang.
That was creepy, Matt.
That's
I love all of Sashir's little terrible shoved-in romantic subplot of the.
You're right, and I'm in love with you.
Also, I'm a virgin and I'm pregnant with your baby.
She was very good in that sketch.
Yeah.
And also, this may or may not have only been in the web version, which is up on Hulu, but the was it in the TV version where he just keeps on getting like thrown bags and he because they just have disdain for him. So, which Vulture pointed out, like that's true of every young adult movie, is everyone has disdain for the new person, even if they're all in the same crappy situation.
I remember Mooney throwing a bag at him, saying, "Way to come on selection day." Now you're
Right.
gonna get, or
Then at
grouping
the
day or
end
something,
of the
yeah.
video, at least in the web version, Davidson's like, "What's with the bags?" And
Oh, that wasn't on the.
then it
TV.
says something like, "Nothing like a good bag." Doesn't even
Right.
make sense, but
I enjoyed Hader as well.
Yes.
Just like
Obviously.
casually talking to
I
his
really-
bodyguards and then just tapping one of them in the crotch.
Yeah, I really liked Hater. I that was the highlight of the episode. Next, not the episode, but the sketch. Next to the sheep.
guys, which group would you guys
Exploding.
fall into? Would you be an emotional, a foodie, a
Gryffindor.
Hasidic, a Hasidic or Gryffindor?
I would
Gryffindor.
totally be a foodie.
Even though I'm totally Ravenclaw.
Me too. Us Ravenclaws will always be ashamed, even though we're not Hufflepuffs.
I used to
That-
have
I'm a Hufflepuff. I'm a Hufflepuff.
Oh my God! Who cares?
you losers. We have good spirit and nothing else.
We're
I used
excellent
to have a black and gray
finders.
scarf around here somewhere, but
I mean, I just have good spirit. I can't do anything useful or...
Hufflepuffs are great finders. What does that even mean? No Harry Potter musical fans from Star Kid featuring Darren Criss? Nope. All right. I'll shut up.
I don't know what just happened.
Okay.
Yeah, me neither.
Rob's reading his excerpts from his dream journal.
Let's move on to Hollywood Game Night. It seemed like the reaction online was very divisive towards Hollywood Game Night. Some people thought it was just like a weak Celebrity Jeopardy, but I don't know. I enjoyed it on its own merits.
It was one of those sketches that was built for everybody to do their celebrity impressions, and at the very least, if nothing else, it gave us Beck Bennett's amazing Nick Offerman impression.
It was really good. I was surprised.
was-
I was like, God damn it, I just started hating you. Don't do something that I like.
That was a 99% accurate Nick Offerman impression.
It was so.
That,
And there was a lot of recognition in the audience for such a low-rated show like Parks and Rec, where everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's nailing this." So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
That was solid, and then weirdly enough, Jay Farrow was the only one who didn't have like a solid impression in that sketch. I thought it was Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman was not well.
It wasn't as croaky and filled with gravitas and weight as it needed to be.
No.
I enjoyed the line that he said, where was it? We play games to distract the mind from death, or something like that. And it's like, well, that's a fun line for a game show. So I enjoyed him. I enjoyed that one.
It was, except for maybe the auditions format, like the Back to the Future auditions, the Star Wars auditions, like this kind of game show idea between this or Family Feud seems like at least a solid, consistent, funny way to get a bunch of impressions into a sketch.
And I enjoyed Al Pacino and Kathy Lee. It was
Yeah.
Al Pacino's whole thing. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a prostitute my home address.
Yep.
That was a
Last
good
time
line.
I did that, I woke up in Tijuana. Or something like that.
And I
That
was
was
saying
a terrible impression. That was a terrible impression. I'm sorry to everybody. Please don't hold that against me.
At least you didn't say hoo-ha. That's the definition of a hacky Pacino impression. But
Mhm. Are you talking to Pete Holmes right now, or are you?
Oh, Peter.
What laugh was that?
That was a Peter Griffin laugh. That was weird.
Yeah,
I
and I liked Kristen Wiig in it as well. Like, just it seems from the few times I've seen that fourth hour of the Today Show, it does seem like pretty much drunk in the morning and constantly making asides about what she just said.
Something I really liked of her impression was, and I guess she's done it all the time, but I only really noticed it this time, was that when she like ends a sentence, then just like flaps her lips as if like laughing silently to herself, like.
Yeah.
Love it. I don't know why. It's like a fish. Looks like a fish.
Yeah, I mean, it's the definition of Wig mugging for the camera, but in small
But it works
doses.
in
It
character.
works.
Yeah.
It works in character and it works in small doses. When it's lined back to back with Penelope and Target Lady and Gilly and all the others, it gets grating. But one sketch every once in a while now, I can take it.
I thought the entire sketch had enough details to really add up to something fun. Leah looks like she's gonna kill herself. She's so bored.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I just really quick, I just really liked some of the
Down in
lines
that
like
sweater.
the Jane Lynch impression is always great from McKinnon. I love Killam's waltz impression is always fun.
That's fantastic as well. Yeah.
And then the lines from Lynch, like, hello to all of you flying Delta, and America's #2 lesbian, and then she had like a weird like kind of jump or kick or punch or something when she said,
Yeah.
I want an Emmy for this. It was great.
I was trying to
love it.
qualify them. Was that dancing? Can I qualify that as dancing?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah, she played a
Also-
very angry version of Jane Lynch. So
Also, Hader is a total pro, and you can tell because like that prostitute line, like the big laugh from the audience came on, never give a prostitute your home address. And he just kept on saying the line even through the laughter because he knew that people at home would hear it.
I
Like,
mean,
it was,
one of the knocks on Hader through his tenure was that he broke a lot in sketches, and
he broke like 2 or 3 times tonight. Yeah.
during Stefan he certainly did, but I don't think in any actual sketches that he did. I don't remember.
He broke in the monologue when talking to Wig at some point.
Oh, okay, probably.
But yeah. Help Fund, 39 cents. I think everybody
Probably.
Yeah, everybody loved this sketch, I thought. It turns out it was written by Michael Che and shot by Matt Noz. Just overall really solid. Another one of the really great race-based sketches that we've had in the last year and a half. Leah's laughing.
Race-based sketches.
There have been more. Matt, back me up as another white man. There have been a number of solid race-based sketches in the last year.
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
This is really out of bounds. This is very out of bounds.
This has come up on AV Club. This has come up on
Yeah. Ever since the controversy about the lack of black cast members from last season, they've really touched on it a whole lot more, I find.
Leslie Jones's update bits have always really touched on race, Black Jeopardy, 28 Reasons from Black History Month last year.
Yeah, and
Come on.
No, I completely agree. I just
any
wasn't.
of the 12 Years a Slave stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love the 39. I thought it was great. It was really the only standout sketch for me personally throughout the night.
I just enjoyed
I was dying. Ask for more.
There was a lot of great background performances. Hader was right up in the camera, and in the blurry background, you could see Sashir walk up, and she's like, "Who dat?" And
Who dat?
Who dis? Or something like that. I don't know.
I didn't even realize it was Keenan because they were kind of blurred out in the background. And it took me a while to.
This is not one of Keenan's only roles last night.
That was the only
I don't think he was in a live sketch all night long.
No, that was the only one.
Turns out there was a sketch, Coal Miners. It went up on Hulu and YouTube, which was cut for time. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think it was just a dress rehearsal sketch that was probably on the edge of being cut anyway because it wasn't great. But he was live in that, but then I think that got cut and he wasn't in anything else, and I think he just went home for the night because I don't think he was there at Goodbyes.
No, he wasn't there for Goodbyes.
He's done. Yeah. He's like got 1 foot out the door. So.
No, come on.
Yeah, that's happening.
Lack of professionalism is what it is.
Well, all right. There was and then so we all really like 39 Cents. It's the cover of this podcast. Were there 2 goats? Are you just making this up at this point?
No, there were 2 goats in the sketch. I am keeping a log of 4-legged things on.
You sound like a conspiracy theorist. You really do.
Something's really got
if the truth is a conspiracy theory.
The truth will set you free. The goat truth.
The goat truth will set you free.
Years and years from now, after we're all dead, some sort of scientist will really analyze SNL and come to the conclusion that Leah's right. All the writers want to fuck goats. Leah's pumping her arm. She's doing it silently so nobody can see it on full screen.
It's going to be a real peer-reviewed journal article that comes out on this one about the empirical evidence of SNL's fascination with goat intercourse.
Let's move on to Update. Were there any overall thoughts about Update today?
I really like Shay.
He's fine.
I like him. He had some great jokes.
I mean, the jokes I don't really give necessarily the credit. The jokes themselves, I mean, I guess they're writers as well, but do they write their own? Do they get to read the jokes that they wrote? Is that how it works, or if
I
Michael
kind
Che's
of assumed that they were.
Yeah? I don't know.
Otherwise, why would people only do Weekend Update if they weren't responsible for writing that material? Why wouldn't
I
they be
think
in
they're
other sections?
partially responsible for writing that material and or curating it. I know there are writers who only do Weekend Update all week,
Hmm.
which is probably why usually, at least I think in the last few seasons, it's a general consensus that it was like one of the most solid bits, especially with. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I enjoyed his tipping joke where
I
no, I
tipped
tipped 65% of the
of
time.
the top.
Like I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. But I mean, the one where it's talking about same-sex marriage and how it's been an excuse for men who don't want to get married.
I thought that was funny.
It seemed like something directly out of somebody else's stand-up act. I know I've seen comedians do the same material before, and it felt like he was just starting to do part of someone's act at that point. But there were some jokes I did, like the Billy Crystal joke I really enjoyed.
I really I like how they're kind of experimenting with the update format. They're having Che do kind of some stand-up-y, like, he does like a whole kind of mini monologue or aside on a joke.
There was
like the marriage thing.
It was Stefan and Pete Davidson were the only two guests, right?
Yeah, Davidson back as himself again. I don't know if that's recurring points. I don't know.
And I found it interesting that Che was the one who was with both of them.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well.
I feel like maybe they wanted to avoid Stefan actually having to comment on Jost being very similar to Seth in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense because they could have easily gone away with it, but maybe they just wanted to
Are they considered similar?
Seth Meyers is talented and Jost is not, so I don't see the similarity.
I believe the accusations against Jost, I think, are that he's a weak Myers and he has the same kind of delivery as Myers, but not as great.
I think Myers had inflection, whereas Jost just sort of stays at this monotone thing.
Yeah.
It's like that Will Ferrell character that couldn't modulate his voice at all. It's the Pete Sampras lower form version of it. That just monotone joke. It's not working, guys. I don't know if it's working for some people out there, but it's definitely not working for me.
No, I think we're gonna have to break up.
Wow, this is strong. And you went to see him live, Leah. You saw him actually perform.
I did. I was kind of
She
his
never would
defender
have
last
if she
season.
knew how it was going to go.
Yeah, my brother didn't like him at all when we saw him live. I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was great by any means.
Wow.
But I was still like his big defender last season. But he said he was going to be better this season, and I don't see it.
I really enjoyed your guys' courtroom proceedings on a previous episode, putting him on trial for what he said. Rob does a great Southern lawyer.
I don't remember this at all. This sounds like a weird fever dream. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Stefan was great. He had some I really enjoy the very specific references to stuff where it'll be weird. It'll be so weird the next time you see your parents.
It was definitely an above average Stefan, which is great. If they had to bring him back, which they did.
TV.
I don't think it was really.
I wrote down my favorite one.
So many lines, Leah. Come on, that TV.
TV channel at the hotel.
There's always so many.
Hotel. Dumb folks looking to get straight up murdered.
I did like that line.
The magazines at Supercuts.
This Band-Aid found in a jacuzzi.
A doorman who high fives children of divorce.
It's that thing where at the end of a Prozac commercial they want her to seem improved, so they show her at a smooth jazz concert.
A building that you can tell used to be a McDonald's.
Discovered by a realtor named Anthony, who's late for every viewing.
The 2 hours between Michael Jackson and Farrah Fawcett's deaths.
Dan Cortez. Dan Cortez.
The back room in Foot Locker employees disappear into.
I missed like half of these lines, even though I watched it twice, once to specifically write down lines. It was so good.
I love the McDonald's one just because there's a phenomenon in Canada specifically, because we have a very popular restaurant chain known as Harvey's. And you can always tell when a place used to be a Harvey's because the place that comes in has formatted their sign to fit that burger-shaped logo that they have. There's like right down the street from me, there's a lawyer, like a barrister's, that has fit their sign into an old Harvey's logo. I've seen it at least 4 other times in my. I've seen it like 4 different times in my life. Someone's like, "Oh, we'll take that oval and make it work for us."
Does 4 times in your life constitute a phenomenon across Canada?
That's a great story, bro.
Assuming anybody else is listening to this, someone will back me up and say, "Oh yeah, there's one of those former Harveys near me," because apparently they must shut down a lot too. Because
All right. Well, Leah apparently hates everything today. So Leah? Why don't you start out with your thoughts about the puppet sketch?
The puppet sketch. Yeah, didn't love it. The end. What do you? Yeah, I have
What
nothing.
do you like? What do you like? Anything you like?
No. I
Do-do-do-do-do.
kind of liked when the puppet smoked. And I kind of liked. Well, I did like the end actually when they started recreating Vietnam with the two puppets. I thought that was cute. Cute.
I got correct on this. It's Grenada. It's Grenada, and you have to know the difference between.
Okay.
Although there's a secondary, the layer to that joke is that Grenada was a 2-day war, so that just makes it even more hilarious that he's like super traumatized by it.
Speaking of, here's a joke. God. That line alone justified the sketch. And one of my favorite parts was just the introductions at the beginning where Bobby's puppet isn't finished and he's very stressed about it. And then they go to Cecily and she says, "Well, this is the one thing I do for myself each week." And I just liked that line. Like, there's no other
little
laughs.
details like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much. Yeah.
I think the best sketches these days, and it's clearly a pattern, are the ones that are made up of the little non sequitur, little bits of detail. Like, obviously, like, Twin Bed immediately comes to mind, where like everybody loves that sketch, but the thing that people remember is it's a whole thing with Gene. Like, the little details are what makes the sketches in current SNL, I feel like.
Yeah.
Leah, thoughts?
Matt, you hate non sequiturs. Why are you getting behind this?
What?
You get in a huff every time somebody does a non sequitur.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I seem to recall a conversation between us where you're like, everything you say is a non sequitur.
Okay, let's hold for the edit point for Rob right now.
It's live, baby. You can't edit.
Oh, the podcast version, I believe, gets some strict editing because the world is not ready for our comments on Facebook chats and non-sequiturs.
We've more or less been able to go 2 weeks without an edit, so we'll see if that gets broken by the end of today.
I love non-sequiturs.
I use my friend as an umbrella. Solid. The whole flashback? The flashback was great.
That's what I said, the puppet flashback.
Oh, okay, with the stuffing raining down from the air.
Yeah. Is it snowing?
Is it Christmas already? Alright, so, I mean, I guess there's not really much to talk about because it is kind of, again, taken almost completely from that Seth MacFarlane episode and just repeated again, so there wasn't much that was new and original and fresh about it, but Hader is able to kind of carry anything. Hader deserved a lot more characters that they tried to run to the ground but weren't able to than Kristen Wiig. Like, over his time as a cast member, they should have just let him run with so many more characters, because I don't think any of them, I wouldn't say there were any that were I was like potentially dreading them coming back last night.
No, I think Stefan is obviously the most recurring one that they probably used, but I think everybody was looking forward to that more than anything.
Yeah.
And there was, that character delivered exactly what it was, that non sequitur sort of stuff that character always delivered, where it's like, where did they get this idea from? That.
Starting to wind down now, I'm guessing there's going to be some argument about Inside SoCal.
I enjoyed it. Kyle Mooney is great in those sketches, where it's like his delivery, where it's like he keeps losing what he's about to say halfway through, and just the phrases like super gangster and baller.
Leah?
I don't care enough about it to argue over it.
Wow. Okay.
And the way he just trails off, though, where it's like, like talking about their friend's wedding, and he's like, and also, you don't have to dance. It's just a weird way he doesn't emphasize those words that makes it.
Hitfix, I think it was Hitfix that said like the kind of thrust behind all of the Mooney Bennett stuff is that they play characters who shouldn't have access to video equipment.
Yeah.
Always getting video equipment, which is a great minor commentary on the current generation. I love it. I genuinely like a lot of their stuff.
And this current conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I thought there were a lot of little details. I liked some of the some of the people that popped up really briefly, like Kate McKinnon and Taron Killam, arguing about how Taron apparently masturbated to Kate's photos or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Hader, I liked Hader's accent. It was kind of a riff on his Californian's accent. It reminded me of Dave from his character from Hot Rod. I don't know, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's yeah, I enjoy anything with the weirdness that they let Mooney and Bennett do.
And Leah has absolutely nothing to say before we leave the sketch.
No, I'm in a really weird place right now. No, I really don't.
What's this weird place that you're in? I think this is the focus now.
It's kind of haunting, actually.
Haunted.
Her weird switch from I'm in a weird place right now.
Yeah, that is concerning.
Is that weird place?
impression
Is that
on my
weird
part,
place
though.
some sort of wool poncho?
It is. Do you like it? It's my birthday poncho.
It's your
Wow.
weird place poncho.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna wear this for the next 3 months. Mark it on your calendars.
Finally, the Cat in the Hat sketch. I thought it was a solid 10-1 sketch.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
reminds
kinda
me
liked it.
of didn't they do years ago? I remember a sketch. God, what is it? Sound of Music? I forget, but it's
I hated the Sound of Music one.
What was,
You know what I'm
what was
ta-
the
you know what I'm
thrust of the
talking
Sound of
about?
Music one?
where it's like she had basically slept with everyone in town, something like that.
Oh, that's a different one than what I'm thinking of.
What was
It
the
was,
thrust of the Sound of Music one?
What?
Like, what was the joke behind the Sound of Music one?
Oh, it was
I
Mary
can't remember.
Poppins. I'm pretty sure it was Mary Poppins, and all the other people in town. Like I've never seen Mary Poppins, but it was other beloved characters who. It turns out that Mary has some sort of venereal disease, and then everybody in town finding this out, and then all of a sudden becoming very concerned about themselves.
I don't remember this at all.
But it's just sort of like children's entertainment, and then sort of being like this adult overtone to it, where very much like this Cat in the Hat one.
Again, this just sounds like a fever dream you had or something. I have no recollection.
Bill Hader was in it. I believe he was like some sort of music man who had like a drum thing in front of him. You know, when there's a drum hooked in front of you, like in a parade.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen these movies. I didn't grow up with these movies, so I don't know which one. I think it's Mary Poppins, but
Okay. I don't remember this at all. I did think this...
the same people who are familiar with this Harvey's thing I was speaking of earlier. They're all familiar with that sketch. We all have a club.
I thought this was a great showcase of Hader is able to really like go back and forth between characters, like and the timing of like when he would slip in and out of that cat voice to like
Yeah.
just to like the little rhymey higher pitch kind of voice to just Linda, hello, or
Yeah.
Yeah, when he has a rhyme that ends in "your dad." So where is he? Is he still in the picture?
Yeah, great.
Still around. What's going on there? Yeah,
Just
I
switch on a
actually,
dime.
I like this one. Yeah.
Even though Davidson is the youngest guy in the cast, I don't know if he fit very well in this sketch. He seemed to have a detached sort of. He wasn't able to play like the childlike wonder that 80 was clearly excelling at.
I think Kyle Mooney would have been a better choice.
Mooney would have been the perfect choice, I think.
Yeah.
Davidson's
He's really good
accent
doing wide-eyed childhood.
Davidson's accent doesn't sound like a child in any way.
No.
With his deep voice and that accent. The 80 probably 80's only role last night, which was disappointing.
Yeah, I was a little upset about that.
You know, I was going to mention earlier she was one of the contestants on Hollywood Game Night, and her
and Bayer, who don't seem to have any impressions, I guess.
Bear, and
Bayer. Sorry.
And her baseball, I just enjoyed her her one line was like, "Yeah, I'm here to win," and like it was just such an awkwardly phrased way, and like the audience actually laughed at it. And she's getting to the point where anything she does is worthy of a laugh. So
Yeah. She's going to be the new Keenan.
Yeah, sure.
Mute her.
That's not the answer to everything.
One more
Go
Keenan
hide in your
person and
poncho.
mute. The inside of that poncho is just lined with Keenan fan art.
So the closing line, yeah.
But yeah, so it's
the places she let me go. It's like that's a great
last line of the show.
That was a
Nailed
great
it.
last line, yeah.
Yep. I did
And
like.
I think I got points for Taryn coming out still in his Thing 2 costume.
He was in the
I'm
goodbyes.
sorry, his
In
Jonathan.
costume.
His Jonathan
Jonathan.
costume.
He goes by Jonathan these days.
Was there points for that?
In yeah, it's 2 points
Yeah.
if they're in the goodbyes.
Okay.
Do we want? Let's move into the points then. I think overall we're saying it was maybe our favorite episode of the season, just strong and consistent, which I think is worth noting for SNL. Leah is giving the thumbs down again silently. This is also an
Canceled
audio
out.
podcast.
Canceled
Leah.
out.
Thank you. One up, one down. I give the third thumb, which is up. So it's a 2 out of 3. It's that's
agreed upon.
that's the official review system of the Deep
Yeah.
Thoughts podcast. So there you go.
It's a democracy.
Going into points, are there any predictions for the show?
Prediction.
Well,
Predictions
Keenan,
for points. For points.
I think Hader did well because he did, I think, at least 4 recurring characters, and he appeared alongside Wig in a couple sketches, which means points for that.
Now again, this is always unofficial because Russell has the final stuff. He did take a look at this stuff. He did, and he basically gave it the blessing. Although he'll take a more detailed look before his write-up.
He had his assistant take a look at it.
Yeah. So
Dictated, not read.
where do you think Bill Hader left? How many points do you think he got?
If I had to estimate, it's close to 100, I think.
Leah?
Going 107 points.
You, no, well, you're both wrong by Price is Right rules. Matt is closer. 96 points by my count.
Oh, okay, I can work with that.
He would have hit 100 if, and this is right on the line of whether it's worth penalizing him for, but he did break a couple of times, so that's -4 points. So, yeah, with both of those included, it's down from 196.
If he
Kristen Wiig, go ahead.
I say, if he breaks during update, and I think the monologue, I'm not sure, I don't know if we ever discussed that, but I think he's okay.
I saw the monologue.
What's that?
I saw him break in the monologue.
Okay. But update doesn't matter. I know we already talked about update being a looser structure, so he doesn't lose. Nobody loses points if they break during update.
Oh, really? Then maybe, because I forgot about that, so maybe he...
Especially with Stefan, where they're trying to make him break.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious. He was kind of set up to break.
They built this into the character.
Yeah.
So he can break all he wants. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that all last year we were never deducting anybody for breaking during update because it's looser, it's conversational. Keenan would lose so many points if he was he'd be in negatives if they were deducting him for update breaking.
Do we have an idea of where Wig landed on the scale? Who drafted Wig? Is that Leah?
Yeah.
Leah's raising her hand. Again, an audio podcast as well, Leah. I just want to point that out. Raising her hand silently does not help.
I'm so scared to talk around Matt because I know he's just waiting to jump on something that I say.
Where do you think she ended up?
I'm gonna go 40s maybe.
Matt?
Well, she only showed up twice, right?
Yeah, and there also I had no way of scoring the Jan Hooks tribute, so I didn't. But
yeah. There's
I guess I was going. I didn't know how it works with like appearing along a former host, being a former host, reoccurring character.
Former host is worth more points than former cast member.
I don't think.
So I gave the 5 points for cast for.
And then I didn't know if she got points for getting the first hug because she got the first hug from Hader at the end of the episode.
Yeah, this is all unofficial. I included everything we're talking about, but Russell might strike it from the record later.
Yeah, I don't think these are things I don't know. They might have changed a bit because I remember.
Now, according to my count, Kristen Wiig got 22 points.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. She introduced the musical guest the second time, too, which was kind of weird.
That's what I was thinking.
Because Hader was in the Cat in the Hat makeup.
I guess so, but that's only worth 2 points. So then for the top 3 cast members overall, who are... Matt, what are your picks in order?
In order, let's go... Taran Killam, Beck Bennett, and... Oh, no, let's go Taran, Cecily, Beck Bennett.
Leah?
I'm going to double down on that list.
Well, number 1 is actually Pete Davidson.
Really?
Yeah, I guess
53 points.
He was in almost every single sketch. I guess that's not surprising.
At least over half of the sketches included him, yeah. 53 points. Cecily Strong, number 2, with 50 points.
Sounds about right.
Just like, yeah, okay. Silence, just noting, yeah, that sounds right, whatever.
It's like, yeah, she's not on my team. Yeah, whatever. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
And then Taryn and Bobby Moynihan tied for third with 44 points.
Really?
Bobby Moynihan's a little surprising to me.
He got a lot in the cold open.
Cold Open, live from New
recurring
York.
cold
He
open,
danced.
live from New York, dancing. Yeah. And then he just popped up a couple more times in the rest of the night, but still enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on the low end, Keenan actually was the lowest scoring.
He'd have to be, yeah.
He had the one appearance in 39 cents, and then he was also in promo points this week. So.
Right, yeah. I was going to say, we don't give points for voiceovers because he was clearly the voice of that other puppet.
Yeah, I had to talk to Russell about that last week because he was also the voice on the radio of the Sarah Silverman cheating on her boyfriend sketch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was deemed that because we can't always figure out who is on the radio, we don't give points for that.
Yeah,
Aw,
it's like Beck
poor
Bennett does a lot of
Keenan.
voiceover stuff, but
Poor Keenan.
sometimes they
Keenan.
modulate their voice and you don't know who's doing it, so if you can't give the points always, you probably never should, right?
I mean, Keenan is so good at modulating his voice and like making a real vocal chameleon.
Chameleon.
Keenan's just
Yeah.
so talented and well-rounded that it's, yeah.
The weird
really-
thing is,
it really
Leah
ruins
sounds
the
like she's being
comments.
sarcastic, but she's actually saying this completely genuinely, while me and Matt are being sarcastic.
That's a weird conversation to be having.
Yeah.
We're all agreeing, but only one person really means it.
So, solid episode overall. Everyone seems pretty happy about it. I don't think anybody disliked the episode. I haven't seen that.
I was very happy. I was happy
yeah.
to watch it. And we talk about Jan Hooks and the sketch that they played.
Yeah, let's talk a bit about Jan Hooks. We can segue into news. I was going to keep it till the end of the news because it seems weird to talk about, like, hey, we're going to talk about Angry Birds after, but...
No, why don't we just let Matt take over what we talk about next? Go, Matt.
No, I'm
What do
just
you
saying
think
it'll be a rough
about-
transition, but we're going to do it. Let's talk about Jan Hooks.
I agree with them. It's just something that happened in the episode that we haven't
Let's
talked
talk about Jan Hooks. They played the tribute. I can't remember the name. It's blanking in my mind right now.
Love is a
Something
Dream.
Yeah.
Love is a Dream. There you go. Known at the time for being a real departure for the show because it's a completely just like sentimental, dramatic short film.
Yeah.
Originally used, the first time I saw it was on the DVD for the 25th anniversary where they used it to tribute Phil Hartman, and I think Jan Hooks might have been.
She introduced
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So weird in a way.
I thought that
Yeah.
was weird as well because that was the first time I saw that skit as well.
Same.
Um,
It's a nice piece, but I don't. It would have been nice if they could have found something I think that showcased what Jan Hooks was really good at on the show, like her comedic performances and.
Well, they did for the SNL Vintage episode before. I think generally they were following it year by year, but it seemed like they jumped ahead to 1990 to showcase a strong episode for her. Pie is Never Free is apparently, I didn't know it, but it's apparently a well-loved sketch basically between her and Alec Baldwin in a diner. She was also in a lot of other stuff in that episode. It was a solid episode watching it.
Yeah. I feel like she was the closest they had to a breakout star, like on the female side of things, from between Gilda Radner and Molly Shannon, basically. Like that's a long era of, them not.
Yeah, they
really
actually have a kind of
giving a
history
spotlight.
of, like the female cast members for a good decade and a half, except for maybe Jan Hooks were people who were like on it very briefly and then they broke out afterwards, like Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Sarah Silverman, Janine Garofalo.
Yeah.
We're done.
Weirdly enough, it seems like also on the 25th anniversary they played that. Do you remember that kind of dramatic sketch about John Belushi?
Yeah.
Being the only cast member left alive, and he goes and visits the graves of the other cast members, and it's let's just not make any more serious films about cast members because it seems to doom them.
Exactly. Because I can't think of an example of them doing one in the past, 15 years? Like a full-on serious sketch?
Maybe Sad Mouse? That's as close as we got. Sad Mouse?
Yeah, and even that's played for laughs.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody has any memories of Jan Hooks or what they really loved about her that they want to talk about, or...
I remember she played Sinead O'Connor, and obviously Sinead O'Connor figures very big into the history of SNL in terms of controversy.
Right.
I remember like the week after that, her doing Sinead O'Connor, and I think they did something where it was her almost trying to be apologetic for everything that happened a week
I
before.
think I've seen a clip of that on Update, maybe? It was on Update?
I think it was like something like Sinead O'Connor's Good Time, like it was like a special, and there was a lot of like just her trying for, hey, I'm not so bad, or something like that, so I don't know.
I mostly knew her from 30 Rock playing Jenna's mom. Semi SNL related, but she was great on that. And another kind of reunion with Alec Baldwin, not Adam Baldwin, that asshole, from Twitter. Leah, do you have any thoughts at all?
No, I mostly knew her from, bit parts in TV shows as well, not from SNL. Yeah, so I knew her from 30 Rock and, not 30 Rock, Third Rock from the Sun, and Boston Commons. I loved her on Boston Commons. And that's mostly how I remember her.
I think I'm going to be encouraged over the next week to seek out a lot of her stuff. Unfortunately, not really knowing much from her because I wasn't of that SNL generation. But yeah, it's sad. And she was young.
Is she in Scrooged?
Sounds right. Sounds right. I could look that up.
Is she what, sorry?
Scrooged.
It's Scrooged.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's her.
Karen Allen, Carol Kane.
Is it not her?
Can't find any reference to her being in it.
Okay.
Oh no, you're thinking Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh yeah. You're right. Sorry, I get that.
And on that note, on that note, R.I.P.
That was for non sequitur. Well, that's not a non sequitur, but
yeah. But
no, she was very young, and it's a shame.
Yeah,
some sort of unnamed illness, and it's unfortunate that happened. Yeah, so rest in peace.
A weird start to this 40th anniversary. Not 40th anniversary, but 40th season. A lot of people say anniversary when it's like, no, that'd be the 41st season. But in this 40th season, it's weird, like with Pardo and now Jan Hooks. It's off to a somber start. So
we can move right into. So do we want to take the more serious story or the more lighthearted story?
Let's transition like sort of smoothly
with a semi-serious story.
Sure.
Plagiarism accusations against the show. Yeah, so over the last weekend after the Sarah Silverman episode, to really briefly recap it, there was a sketch that didn't even go online because of music rights, but it was some riverboat cruise singers who were singing about how terrible their lives had been up to the point of getting onto this cruise ship or riverboat cruise, not really a cruise ship, but to a tune from Tina Turner. And then it turned out that Kimberly Condict and Vanessa Raglan have been doing a very similar sketch at the Groundlings LA, which is where a lot of SNL cast members of the last 10, 15 years have come from. Not really saying they think it was outright stolen, but kind of letting people decide. There were some really weird similarities, but on the other hand, you could probably argue that the song itself, Proud Mary, can, to a comedic mind, kind of inspire somebody to think of, like, all the terrible things that would have happened before singing this song. A teacher at Groundlings, Ian Gary, posted a long Facebook note about how he has seen a lot of sketches being stolen by the Groundlings, and then somebody anonymous from SNL responded to Vulture and Deadline and Splitsider saying that it was a case of parallel thinking. I am on the fence. I don't know if we'll ever really know, but does anybody have any thoughts on this?
I defer.
So I watched the Groundlings skit, and yeah, they are dressed as Tina Turner, and it is kind of the same thing, so it's a little bit, like you said, it's kind of, you can be on the fence about it. I honestly didn't finish the video because it wasn't funny at all, and
one?
the Groundlings one. And I thought it was obnoxious, and I ended up turning it off about 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
And so whether or not it was stolen, it's like, if somebody made it actually enjoyable, then what the fuck, shut up.
Yeah, the one thing that turned me off about their response was on Twitter when they said, click here for the actually funny version. And it's like, I mean, I'd be angry if I'm plagiarized too, but then when you start outright saying, yeah, we're the funny ones, not them, here, watch. It's like, get over yourselves, guys.
Yeah.
I actually haven't been able to check out the video yet, but it does seem like a thing where if, and you guys are describing it as not that funny, it doesn't necessarily justify the plagiarism if it happened, but what I'm about to say was that it seems like it's less likely that it was stolen if it was an unfunny sketch. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, maybe they didn't consider themselves stealing it. Maybe they saw that and thought this could be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what I mean? And so maybe they didn't think of it.
That would be wrong. I think we're all on the same side that would be plagiarism and wrong, but...
Yeah, but at the same time, at least people got to see something funny versus the very unfunny thing the Groundlings was doing.
I don't necessarily agree with that because I feel like it does try to justify it or rationalize it, but I don't know. It's
a fucking sketch. Who the fuck cares? Like,
comedy is serious. Have you never seen Studio 60? Comedy is serious. Plagiarism is serious with that episode where the...
Will be a very modern modern TV show.
Matt, do you remember the episode of Studio 60?
That's different because they stole a funny joke and put it on the show.
Matt, do you remember that episode of Studio 60 where they had like D.L. Hughley accidentally steal from a stand-up comic who then it was revealed had like written for the show? And it was
no, he had stolen it from somebody else who wrote it for the show.
Such a weird sitcom-y
and then they come in and say that joke's all well and good, but your brother's standing in the middle of Afghanistan. But with the Groundlings guy, I mean, sure, because he says it keeps happening and it's time for someone to speak up. And it's like, well, we know about one. Tell us about some of the other times when you guys had the sketch and they came into it.
There was the 2010 Tiny Hats thing with Tim and Eric, but that also, it just didn't seem like there was anything similar except that people were wearing tiny hats, which is it's a dumb thing to try and claim ownership over. And I don't think Tim and Eric were really doing that, but...
but I mean, he was talking about the Groundlings specifically, this guy, right?
Yeah,
sure.
He was.
So,
he was like, you guys have stolen from us for the last time.
Yeah, give us some evidence. Like, one time could possibly be chalked up to parallel thinking. If it's happened a bunch of times, let us know, and then let us decide. Well, not that we need to decide.
The
court of public opinion is clearly against us.
We've been elected as the court of public opinion. We shall hear it now.
Lauren will have to hear us in the elections of 2016 when we vote in the next ruler of Saturday Night Live.
Finally, there was also the news last week, but we didn't get to it, where they actually announced a cast for Angry Birds the movie, which is apparently actually happening. I just thought it was one of those things that was always going to be talked about. Sudeikis is going to be the lead. Hader and Rudolph are in it. McKinnon apparently has a small role. I'm going to be optimistic. We've had a good run of kids' movies that aren't terrible. We've had a Lego movie. We had Cloudy. We had...
Chris Miller involved?
No, they are not. I was about to try and think of
any reason for optimism.
I was about to try and think of another kids' movie that was solid without their involvement, and I think that there was one this year, but I can't think of it.
Wreck-It Ralph?
The Disney movies have been solid for the last few years.
Frozen?
Yeah.
Frozen was all right.
Leah hates Frozen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have a lot of anger in your heart towards Frozen?
You gotta let it go.
I would describe it as
Yeah, you stole my joke.
I knew you bad
setting it up. So labored. Yeah.
You had
labored setup. Yeah.
You had a T-ball stick. You put the ball on it. You gave me a bat. You said, "Take a whiff." It's a good time.
Take a whiff.
Take a whiff.
Take a whiff.
Yeah. Take a whiff.
Take a whiff.
Yeah. So. I don't know.
It'll be interesting. I don't know if it'll be necessarily great. It's from Sony, and they did Cloudy, and they did, but they also did, I think, Rio. Yeah. Or is that Fox? I can't remember.
My optimism for these animated films are never really based around the voice cast, because they're just given lines to go read into a booth, right? There's lots of animated movies that have great casts, and probably suck. It was a paycheck cashing movie, right? So. I mean, you think even all the Pixar ones that are so great, they don't necessarily go for the biggest name stars available. They'll get people who are famous, but it'll be Albert Brooks as the voice of Nemo's dad.
Are you saying there's no audience for Albert Brooks? What are you saying? I don't understand.
I'm saying not a mainstream audience.
No.
But yeah.
But
Ed
yeah, we'll
Asner.
see what happens when it comes out. Oh, on a related note, this isn't really news, but did anybody watch Mulaney? And did anybody not feel disappointed?
Did anybody not feel disappointed? It looked awful from the trailers, and it lived up to that.
I don't know what's going on there, like a lot
It's
of network
fucking
interference. I mean, are they intentionally trying, like, is it like this meta sort of thing where they're trying to make a sitcom so terrible that I'm optimistic because I thought Nasim Pedrad was really good. I thought she sold the hell out.
Awful.
I thought she sold the hell out of everything.
I thought she was good. I thought the material for her was awful. There was a weird streak of like all this like angry woman problem bitch stuff on top of just like Martin Short mugging a little bit and like
everybody
Andre
was
and Andre and the roommate were not great.
Yeah, I didn't like either of them. Elliot Gould I thought was pretty good actually.
No.
Yeah, that was the one funny. That was the one funny.
And
scene.
I liked John just because I think it was John Mulaney, who I'm a fan of. And
yeah. Although his stand-up doesn't really translate into dialogue, like
it felt
like
very
some of the stuff like
the
Prozac stuff didn't really translate well.
Yeah.
No.
The wheelchair bit where he's like shoehorns that in the tipped over wheelchair. It's from his stand-up. They sort of shoehorned into the script. Yeah, I don't know. As long, I mean, if they do a Salt and Pepper Diner episode, then yes.
I'm sure that's coming. That feels like it must be coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep giving it a chance. I'm just kind of disappointed.
I will not.
There's enough.
Apparently, the original NBC version actually had a through line, like the story was about him deciding to become sober, which is based on his real life.
Yeah.
And it didn't include dialogue from his stand-up. And then the Fox version stripped out the alcoholism and asked for him to put stand-up in there as dialogue. Kind of weird.
It's
NBC
real
version
bad.
sounds really good.
My one disappointment is after he was great at JFL 42 last year, I'm going to be disappointed if that material only comes out in bits on his sitcom, like how Louis CK does new stuff only on the in-between bits on his TV show. Because I want that as a stand-up special. It was such a good hour of material. Anyway,
yeah,
really downer news section this week.
John. Two of us believe on you, John.
Really downer news section this week. In 2 weeks, yeah, that math checks out. I think 2 weeks, Jim Carrey is back for, I think, only the third time.
Oh, we still didn't talk about that band.
What band?
Hozier?
Hozier. Oh, yeah, let's talk about Hozier really quick. We completely forgot Maroon 5 last week, but I don't think anybody cares about that. Hozier was one of the ones where I listened to the first song and I'm like,
Hozier Daddy! There we go. I kept trying to think. Sorry, I've been trying to think of.
Hozier horses.
All right, should we not talk about Hozier if you guys are going
I
to
like
do
him.
this?
I listened to his album this week. It's a good album. He's got more dimensions to his sound than I thought he would. It seemed like another sort of maudlin singer-songwriter sort of thing. And then there's some bouncier songs. There's some catchy, even vaguely dancier stuff going on that album.
I liked the atmosphere that he was making. I actually really like that Coldplay Viva La Vida album, and there was it sounded kind of similar in terms of guitar. I don't really know how to explain that, and people might hate Coldplay, but I liked it. And then Leah's laughing at me, and then it was a moment where I listened to the first song for about 10 seconds. I'm like, oh, it's this guy. I didn't know his name, but I know this song and I like it.
Yeah, he's good. I enjoyed it.
I think
Leah's
Leah's
actually the right second song.
Is Leah frozen? Oh no, she's back. The little thumbnail is frozen.
Leah, let it go. You have domino. Are those domino earrings?
They are. Well, no, they're Kitty Sushi earrings, but they're on dominoes. What side is it on right now? It's on the domino.
I see double sixes.
There.
Again, Leah is making for a great audio podcast. Although Matt asked, to be fair, Matt asked.
Edit point.
No.
So we'll be back. Sorry, Leah, go ahead.
No, I don't really have any thoughts on them.
That's
Whatever.
what I thought.
The most fun I had with them was us all doing, little bits on their name.
So we'll be back in a couple of weeks for Jim Carrey and Iggy Azalea. So we will actually probably hear that other song, the fancy song, that was left out of the premiere. And yeah, so thank you guys for being here. My name is Rob Moden. You can find me at Rob Exists on Twitter or on YouTube. You can follow Deep Thoughts SNL on Twitter or at Trivia Club on YouTube. Leah, where can people find you?
You can find me at Leah Sueko on the Twitter.
And Matt?
Not that I've ever gotten a single follower out of this, but at Hickory What is my Twitter handle.
Don't Stop Believing / Let It Go / I don't know.
Any way you want it, because that's the song they were parodying in the monologue for some reason.
Yeah, you should take me to church.
Can we ride out on
I'm
that?
a believer now.
Can we ride out on any way you want it, just the way you need it?
We can't afford that. YouTube is going to kick us out off the live stream for that song. Thanks everybody for being here. We'll be back, and that's it. Bye everybody.
Bye. I'm waving.
Woo! Audio podcast.
Yeah.